So I believe that we are getting closer to the beginning of the middle of the natural end of Donald Trump's continued unhinged, baseless efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election. Donald Trump and others have continued to insist this is going to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is going to decide, and the Supreme Court is going to do all sorts of great things for Donald Trump, and he will win and he will get another term. Well, the Supreme Court has finally weighed in for the first time, and they have refused to block Pennsylvania from formalizing the victory of Joe Biden. Now, as I'm sure you've heard by now, even without Pennsylvania, if through some completely unimaginable circumstance, Pennsylvania went to Trump, which it's not going to, even without Pennsylvania, Joe Biden would still win. Joe Biden has 306 electoral votes. Pennsylvania's worth 20. If you take those away from Joe Biden, he still wins with 286 electoral votes. That's 16 more than the 270 that are required. But the point here is, with 5 days left until the official electoral vote is cast on December 14th, the Supreme Court shows absolutely no interest and no willingness to get involved in holding this up in any way. This was sort of one of the last ditch efforts. So that you understand the argument that was used, Republican Congressman Mike Kelly filed a lawsuit claiming that when Pennsylvania expanded mail-in voting in 2019, it was illegal under state law. That was the legal complaint that sort of worked its way through the system since the election. The court very briefly wrote a rejection notice. They were asked to throw out the absentee ballots. They said, we're not going to do that. They just said no. There were no noted dissents from a single justice on the court. Notice also that the arguments they've been making about why this election was unfair range dramatically. In some states, the problem is they counted the same ballots many times. They allege these are all unproven allegations. Some states, same ballots counted many, many times. Other states, Republican observers weren't allowed to observe. Other states, expanding vote by mail was illegal. Other states, sending supposedly unsolicited ballots was fraudulent in some way. Other states, someone hid and then pulled out duffel bags of ballots from the ceiling or from under a table or wherever they came from. In some states, dead people voted. In others, people voted twice, et cetera, et cetera. And every single one of these claims in court have not stood up. And it's not even accurate to say that. In court, they very often don't even make these claims. It's really common that you'll see a Trump lawyer on TV say one thing happened. When they filed the legal complaint to the court, they don't make the same argument, often because they know there's no evidence of it. Yesterday, also, a Michigan federal court denied a Republican attempt to preserve election data and machines for some kind of future inspection. So we are having a situation in which these lame attempts to overturn the election results, they're kind of naturally winding down. Donald Trump's two primary lawyers on this, Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis, they both now have coronavirus. We'll talk about Jenna Ellis's diagnosis a little bit later. Rudy supposedly is going to be appearing at some events remotely from his hospital room, but Trump has now lost more than 50 legal challenges. We're 5 days from the formal electoral vote, and Donald Trump reportedly might be heading to Florida for vacation soon. There are suspicions he won't even return to the White House. So slowly but surely, without anybody at any point saying it's over, people on Trump's side, I mean, we've called this a month ago, and so did media outlets and states have certified. But slowly but surely, this entire thing is going to kind of evaporate. And on the basis of California now certifying their election, Biden has formally won more than 270 electoral votes. The very final step is for that electoral vote to actually take place on December 14th, where the electors designated by each state say, we cast our electoral votes for Joe Biden or for Donald Trump, depending on the state that they are in. So we're 5 days from that. And I think it will be over at that point, although who knows, maybe some will keep insisting that Joe Biden won't be sworn in on January 20th. He will. That's it. And we'll have more coverage of this on our Instagram page. You can follow us on Instagram at David Pakman Show. And of course, follow me on Instagram at David.Pakman as well. One of our sponsors today is Lucy, and they are giving my audience 20% off. Lucy is a company founded by Caltech scientists with only one mission, which is to help people quit smoking and vaping by offering a clean, affordable nicotine alternative. Now, many of you know, you've heard the stories. I've known several people in my life who have struggled with quitting smoking. I've seen how difficult it can be. And nicotine alternatives can be hugely helpful. Lucy offers a nicotine gum in 3 flavors: wintergreen, cinnamon, and pomegranate. They also have lozenges, which come in cherry ice flavor. Lucy is affordable. It'll ship right to your door. You don't have to go out to the store. Shipping is always free. You can buy single boxes or save with a subscription. It's the year 2020. It's time to throw the cigarettes away and get rid of the vape. And Lucy can make it easier. You'll find a ton of excellent reviews online from countless people who have used Lucy to quit smoking and vaping. Go check them out at lucy.co. I've put the link right underneath this video, and you'll get 20% off when you use the coupon code Pakman. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm required to give: these products contain nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.